Have you ever been driving down the highway and suddenly realize you're staring at a truck so expensive it could replace an entire mortgage? Not just a nice truck. I'm talking about a chrome-plated land, yet that costs more than most people's homes. And the crazy part? The person driving it probably earns less than you do. And that's the moment your mind whispers the uncomfortable question nobody likes to ask. How is this even possible? How are ordinary people signing up for financial commitments that should be mathematically impossible? My name is Nick, and I spend an unhealthy amount of time studying why people sabotage their own finances, why we chase status we can't afford, why we justify decisions that trap us, and why we confuse appearance with progress. Because if you've ever wondered how your neighbor can complain about grocery prices while driving a $70,000 truck, buckle up. What I'm about to explain won't just answer the question, it might change the way you look at money forever. Before we get into how people are doing this, I need you to understand what they're stepping into. The average new car payment in America has drifted into territory that would have sounded absurd, almost delusional 10 years ago. We're talking about monthly payments higher than some people's rent. And yet millions of Americans sign the dotted line every single month, driving off the lot in vehicles priced higher than the median household income. And here's the plot twist. These people aren't wealthy. They're not sitting on Bitcoin fortunes. They're not trust fund kids. They're teachers, nurses, mechanics, retail workers, regular people with regular incomes who believe they've found a way to make the math work. Except the math isn't working. The system is just designed to make them feel like it is. Let's talk numbers. When I tell people the average new car payment has crossed $700 a month, they think I'm joking. I wish I was. And that's not for luxury cars. That's the average for a normal new vehicle. Trucks and SUVs? They break $900 routinely. And $1,200 a month? More common than you'd think. Over the full loan term, many people end up paying over $80,000 for a vehicle guaranteed to lose value the moment it touches the road. And no, wages haven't risen enough to justify any of this. People aren't suddenly rich. They're simply stretching themselves thinner than ever before. How? Simple. Loan terms. The old 36-month or 48-month loan is gone, extinct like the flip phone. Today, it's all 6, 7, or 8-year loans. Some lenders even push 10-year loans, which feels less like financing a vehicle and more like entering a slow-burn financial trap. It's psychological. Spread a $60,000 truck over 8 years instead of 4, and the payment drops from a panic-inducing $1,500 to a manageable $900. The buyer doesn't look at the total cost, only the monthly bite. And that's exactly where the trap closes. Because that $900 payment over 8 years, that's more than $86,000 in total. Around $14,000 extra compared to the shorter loan. And that's before insurance, maintenance, and fuel turn the financial wound into a deep, permanent scar. Even worse, by year 5 or 6, the truck will be worth far less than what's still owed. They're chained to a depreciating asset, a decision that follows them for nearly a decade. And that's where the real danger lies, not in the payment itself, but in the illusion of affordability. Worth. They won't be able to trade or sell the car without writing a check to cover the difference, since they will be stuck in what is known as negative equity. However, longer loan durations are only the first step in how consumers are arranging these payments. The increase in 0% financing and other promotional interest rates is the second significant factor. Any dealership will have signs promoting 0% APR for eligible purchasers. That sounds fantastic, doesn't it? Free cash to purchase that new truck. The thing that dealers really don't want you to know about those 0% offers is this. In reality, they are not free funds. The price of the car includes the cost of that loan. You are either getting a discount on the automobile and paying market rate interest, or you're paying full price and receiving 0% financing, but you're not receiving both. More significantly, those 0% deals typically have shorter loan durations and stringent qualifying restrictions. Those who could afford to pay cash for the car anyway are usually the ones who are eligible for 0% financing. Interest rates on these long-term auto loans can be high for other people, particularly if their credit isn't flawless. Another factor that has grown in significance in how consumers handle these substantial auto payments is the trade-in game. This is how it usually operates. Well, someone takes out a 6 or 7-year loan to purchase a new car. They still owe more on the loan than the automobile is worth after 3 or 4 years because they're sick of it or want a newer model. What do they do then? They apply that negative equity to a new loan on a car that costs much more. This leads to a vicious cycle in which consumers take out loans for new cars while also continuously paying for cars they no longer own. Their loan balances continue to increase despite their monthly payments. It resembles a financial hamster wheel in which you fall farther behind the quicker you run. Because this arrangement generates lifelong clients, the dealers adore it. A person becomes a captive market for new car purchases if they are caught in the negative equity cycle. Since it would cost thousands of dollars to write a check to pay off their present loan, they cannot afford to break free from the cycle. However, the normalization of these exorbitant auto payments may be the most alarming trend. Someone somehow persuades themselves that $1,200 a month is fair for transportation, even if they would never consider spending it on anything else. Consider it this way. You'd probably set up an intervention if someone told you they were spending $1,200 a month on coffee. You would think they had a severe shopping addiction if they admitted to spending that much money on clothing each month. However, we simply nod and say, well, you need reliable transportation when it comes to car payment. This normalization wasn't a coincidence. Americans have been persuaded that their car is an extension of who they are by decades of marketing. Your truck serves more purposes than just transportation. It's a declaration of your personal identity. It demonstrates your success, dependability, and diligence. If you're not driving a fancy car, what does that say about you? The car industry has developed a very sophisticated method of utilizing these psychological triggers. They no longer sell automobiles. They market dreams, lifestyles, and social standing. You're not being sold transportation by the commercial that shows the tough truck scaling mountains. Even though parking on grass at the county fair is the closest you can get to off-roading, it's selling you the idea that you're the type of person who climbs mountains. People find it much simpler to defend payments that would otherwise appear wholly unreasonable thanks to this emotional manipulation. That $900 payment feels more like an investment in yourself than a financial error when you're not just purchasing a truck, but also investing in a brand. Let's return to the practical aspects of how people are integrating these payments into their monthly spending plans, though. Because $700 to $1,200 is still a significant amount of money for the majority of households, even with prolonged periods and emotional reason. This is where the creative juices flow. And when I say creative, I mean possibly catastrophic for long-term financial well-being. In essence, a lot of folks are rearranging their whole financial situation to accommodate their auto payment. They're making the necessary adjustments to everything else and treating it like a mortgage payment. In order to afford their ideal truck payment, I've witnessed people relocate to smaller flats or remain with roommates for longer than they had intended. They will drive to work in a car that costs more than some people's homes and eat ramen noodles for lunch every day. To pay for a car payment that takes up 25 to 30% of their take-home pay, they will postpone other significant purchases, avoid dining out, and skip vacations. Arrive. In order to pay for their cars, some people are taking on second jobs. On weekends, they will use their pricey truck to deliver food or drive for ride-sharing services in order to earn the money required to buy the same expensive vehicle. Your car becomes both your master and your means of subsistence, creating a strange kind of vehicular indentured servitude. Others are taking out loans against their 401k or withdrawing funds from retirement accounts to pay for repairs or make down payments. They are financing their present-day transportation fantasies by taking out loans from their future selves. Additionally, most people don't realize they could be giving up hundreds of thousands of dollars in future wealth for a truck that would be worth almost nothing in 10 years, since they are bad at figuring out the full cost of early retirement withdrawals. Then there's the increasingly popular credit card shuffle. Additionally, Many will use credit cards to pay for fuel, insurance, maintenance, and repairs in order to have money for their monthly auto payment. In essence, they are subsidizing their transportation expenses with high-interest loans, which is like to lighting a cigarette with a blowtorch. Although it works technically, it's probably not the best strategy. People taking out personal loans or home equity loans to cover down payments or negative equity from prior cars is the most alarming trend I've noticed. They are essentially misinterpreting the purpose of both assets by using their homes as collateral to purchase cars. Over time, your home should be accumulating worth. You should be able to get from point A to point B as quickly as feasible using your car. You've got the equation completely wrong when you start utilizing your home to finance your addiction to cars. This is where the narrative becomes even more intriguing, though. Many of the individuals who are making these drastic sacrifices for their auto payments are doing so for more than one car. They're doing it for a number of cars. Mathematically astounding and fiscally alarming, the average American home now possesses more automobiles than licensed drivers. Families with 2 or 3 car payments made at the same time are not unusual. Dad has his work truck, mom has her SUV for the kids, and perhaps a third car for the teen or weekend excursions. All of a sudden, we're discussing combined auto payments that are higher than what the majority of Americans spend for housing. These families have effectively started their own private auto finance businesses, but instead of earning money, they lose it each month. They're in charge of several loan terms, insurance plans, maintenance plans, and depreciation schedules. It's similar to managing a small business, except that the company loses money daily and eventually its inventory depreciates to nothing. Managing several auto payments has an intriguing and unsettling psychological impact. People get very good at balancing minimum payments and due dates, but they lose sight of the wider picture. They will take on 2 new auto loans at the same time and celebrate paying off the first one. Instead of considering whether they actually need to be spinning plates, they gauge their success by their capacity to keep everything spinning. When determining affordability, the majority of consumers totally underestimate the insurance component. The cost of insurance for a $60,000 truck is far more than that of a $20,000 sedan. Insurance prices can easily surpass $200 per month when you include comprehensive coverage, collision coverage, gap insurance, and all the other precautions advised for high-priced cars. Insurance premiums for households with several pricey cars might be close to or more than $500 per month. That amounts to $6,000 annually merely for the right to drive their declining assets on public highways. Before they're sitting in the insurance agent's office receiving a reality check, many consumers entirely overlook to account for the ongoing insurance expenses since they are so focused on negotiating the monthly payment. Another thing that many people are surprised by are the upkeep expenses. Modern cars, particularly trucks and SUVs, are highly complicated machines with cutting-edge electronics, intricate emission controls, and high-end parts. The cost of repairs might be prohibitive when anything breaks, and it will break. On a contemporary truck, a basic brake job can easily cost between $800 and $1,200. Transmission issues may cost up to $5,000. Additionally, if you're unfortunate enough to require substantial engine work, you may have to pay more than $10,000 for repairs. Many people who make excessive car payments don't have any emergency money set aside for these unavoidable repairs, so they'll probably wind up taking out more loans or doing significant maintenance on credit cards. This leads to a vicious cycle in which the auto payment, which should have been affordable, ends up serving as the impetus for an unmanageable debt spiral that may take years to recover from. You'll see people with immaculate $70,000 trucks sitting in their driveways are desperately looking for petrol money in their couch cushions. It's comparable to living off of ramen noodles and owning a Rolex watch. Technically impressive, but completely misses the mark. These large cars' fuel expenses alone can come close to what customers paid for their entire car payment just 10 years ago. Fuel expenses might easily surpass $400 per month for someone with a typical commute, while driving a truck that gets 15 miles per gallon in real-world conditions, and gas prices range between $3 and $5 per gallon. When you include the occasional weekend excursion or road vacation, that figure rises even further. However, this is where the math becomes really fascinating. And by fascinating, I mean utterly horrifying. From a standpoint of financial planning, let's run the actual figures in a typical scenario. Numbers that most individuals never bother to compute. Let's say someone uses a 7-year loan with 6% interest to purchase a $55,000 truck. Compared to the $1,200 payment they would have had to make with a shorter loan period, their monthly payment of roughly $800 seems reasonable. The total amount they will pay over the course of the loan is about $67,000. If you include insurance, which costs $250 a month, that comes to an additional $21,000 over 7 years. Add in the $350 monthly cost of fuel, and that comes to a total of $29,000. Over a 7-year period, maintenance and repairs will likely cost an additional $15,000 or more. Over the course of 7 years, this individual will spend more than $130,000 on transportation. And if they're lucky, they'll have a car worth perhaps $15,000 at the end of those 7 years. In essence, they have paid $130,000 for the right to operate a $15,000 truck. That isn't financing for transportation. With heated seats and cup holders, that is destroying wealth. What that same amount of money could have done if it had been invested instead is the most disheartening aspect of this equation. After 7 years, someone would have more than $70,000 if they took that $800 monthly contribution and put it into a straightforward index fund that earned 8% yearly. In addition to avoiding the truck's financial burden, they would have created wealth rather than destroyed it. This psychological trap, however, is what makes breaking this loop so difficult. After making these excessive vehicle payments, a person has what I refer to as automotive Stockholm syndrome. They develop an emotional bond with their money captor. The truck is being used for more than just transportation. It is an expression of who they are, how hard they have worked, and how successful they have been. Driving a less expensive vehicle seems like a concession of failure or a reduction in social standing. Rational financial analysis is practically difficult due to this emotional attachment. Instead of hearing a sensible financial plan, some interpret the suggestion that they could save hundreds of dollars a month by driving a dependable old car as an assault on their sense of value and their entitlement to partake in the rewards of their hard work. They will fight for their truck payment with the same fervor that they do for their family. The car business is more aware of this psychology than the majority of individuals are, despite the fact that the truck payment may be keeping them from truly supporting their family's future. They have invested billions of dollars in figuring out how to elicit these feelings and turn them into loan signatures. You'll note that dealerships don't spend much time discussing opportunity cost of capital or total cost of ownership. Rather, they prioritize social standing, instant reward, and monthly payments. Every reasonable issue a buyer could have has been addressed by refining the sales process. Concerned that the amount might be excessive? Let's prolong the word then. Are you worried about dependability? You can finance this extended warranty. Are you concerned about depreciation? Don't stress over it. In any case, you'll likely want to exchange it for something newer in a few years. There you have it then. It's not really a wonder how folks manage to pay these outrageous auto payments. A circus artist would be envious of this meticulously planned system of long loan terms, emotional blackmail, and financial acrobatics. In reality, people aren't able to afford these payments in any significant way. They're merely fooling themselves they deserve that flashy truck while kicking the financial can down the road. The next time you witness someone driving a car that is more expensive than your home, keep in mind that they are most likely eating cereal for dinner in order to pay for it. Additionally, that trustworthy used car in your garage might not appear that horrible after all.